Alright, first off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Shalom to the brothers and highways and byways pushing this word now, sincerity and truth. The sisters, the believers, the helps, the hopeful elect. Shalom. This is the brother Iron from the JMS Jamaica camp. Come with another quick lesson. Alright, and the inspiration of this lesson came from a series I was watching called The Last Kingdom. And the main character, in the last season, someone said something to him that made me think about this scripture where it says that the truth is not a respecter of person. Now, his actions throughout the whole movie, the main character, Uhtred, his he always followed honor. Yes, in times he made mistakes. A lot of times they dealt with him unfairly. At times they dealt with him also, unreasonably. But despite the fact of, what the situation was, he always stuck to honor. He always stayed true to duty. And even when he did not even agree with some judgments or some decrees, he still submitted to the king. He still played his role. As we know, but then when it was apparent, who were rulers, who were lords, who were subjects, he still stuck to honor, even at the cost of his family. At times, you know, he always stayed true to also his word. Now, in the series they wrote it where in the last season he actually, got back his birthright. But through all of that, in the last half, his daughter said to him that, he always says that he follows faith. And the thing about it is when he makes his decisions, he makes it based on the honor and truth. But she's just saying that it was always an excuse, to tell himself as to the reason why he was pretty much failing, or the reason why he did not get the things that he wanted, or get to even do the things that he wanted to do, because he blamed it on he blamed it on faith. And it came off as if she was saying that he was double-minded. And speaking to the head of our camp, Yashaya, I was telling him that, look, sometimes when she said that, I was thinking about it. And sometimes following truth, following righteousness, following the right path, there are times when you wonder, am I being righteous over much? Or it seems like it may seem as if you're double-minded, because there are times when you could have done something but you choose not to, based on, I don't want to say based on the scriptures, because the scriptures are pretty much black and white. But they're with the decision making, being in certain situations, hope this is coming off clearly to the Akim, like you're in certain situation and you do the right thing, but at the end of the day, it comes off as bitter. And sometimes you saw ways in which you could have done better. You sometimes you saw where maybe you could have explored other options or other paths, or whatever the case may have been. But all in all, in the long run, the Lord always shows us that, look, it was the right call, because eventually it works out. But it's always bitter at first. And it may make you even seem as if you're double-minded or even complacent, and you're using the fact that we're under the curses, or the fact that we're in an unrighteous society, making ourselves a prey, that we're actually blaming that as to why certain things are not getting done. I've seen that in even cases personally where I'll hear something, our brother will come to me about something, and whatever the issue is, I may listen, or let's say to be more clearly, let's say there's an incident between two brothers, right? And I hear the one, and at first I hear it, and I'm like, all right. And I say, if that is the case, then that brother might be wrong, or whatever the case. I don't say it outright because you have to hear both sides. And if it's a case that I go to the next brother, and I'm like, or I'm having the counsel with both brothers, I'm like, all right, you know, what's your side of the story? And then I hear the next side. I'm like, well, based on that, that sounds more true, or that it's not what I thought. And sometimes when I'm in those predicaments and it works out where maybe the first the first time I heard it, it didn't come off that way, and then the second time I heard it, it came off different, and then you might hear 3 or 4 different renditions, and you're like, am I being lukewarm? Is it that I'm switching sides, or playing in the middle, so to speak, with what's going on here, until it gets to the point where it's finally hammered out, and it's like, no, it's not about being double-minded or playing both sides, or some brothers may have a reputation for being in the rut most of the times, but you find that there are times when they say something, or something happens, and you're like, yeah, that's true. And then well, let me not say brothers, for this example. This usually happens at work. So there's a particular co-worker that's pretty much full of shit, but there's a time when they actually say something that's right and say something that's good, and you're like, yeah, you agree with that, and then you hear what maybe the person who's always on the right side of things, so to speak, they look at that person like, with as if they're wrong, or they're always saying, they're always starting some shit, but at the same time, what they said was just true. Now, if you were to actually speak, if I was to actually open my mouth and say that, yeah, this person is always on the wrong side or whatever, but what they just said is true, that person that's in the that's usually in the right, the first things that's gonna pop in your head is, why are you siding with them, even though it's not you picking a side, it's just you pointing out what the truth is, so it can appear that way. And I'm just saying this as an exhortation to Akim, that look, we need to pray to Yahweh Shem Yahushua for discernment, because it's something that can play on your mind if you're not careful, because truth, as I'm about to read it, scripture says truth is not a respecter of persons. So regardless of who truth is coming from or where it is coming from, Esau can say something that's true, but we all know that, look, don't trust Esau, and he's the fucking devil, and he's a liar, you know and then there are things, are people that we don't necessarily agree with, and at times that they do say things that are true. So it's not that you're acknowledging the person per se, you are acknowledging the truth. So don't let that trip you up in thinking that you're siding with people, or you're playing the fence. It just means that you're following truth regardless of how and where it comes forth. Hope this wasn't really a rant or anything. I'm just going to read the scripture and close off. Really hope this is edifying, and I hope I'm being clear. This is First Ezra 4, and I'll start at 35. It says, is he not great that maketh these things? Therefore great is the truth, and stronger than all things. All the earth cried upon the truth, and the heaven blessed it. All works shake and tremble at it, and with it is no unrighteous thing. Exactly. Right? Where's the point? Right. Yeah, I'll continue. Verse 37, it says, wine is wicked, the king is wicked, women are wicked, all the children of men are wicked, and such are all their wicked works, and there is no truth in them. In their unrighteousness also they shall perish. As for truth, it endureth, and is always strong. It liveth and conquereth forevermore. And that is how we're going to be conquerors. We're going to be conquerors, through Yahweh Shem Yahushai, because we've been blessed with this 100% truth. That is how we're conquering the current world. This is how we're overcoming in Yahweh Shai. We're overcoming with truth. But at times it will look as if it can, if you're not careful, you may be questioning yourself and saying, am I being righteous over much, or am I being double-minded? No, we follow truth. Held as an example, you still like for continue. Just a quick example. If Nate says something that is true, or ISU, someone from ISUPK, or even sometimes even the apostles do it, and other from the apostles on down, I see men do it all the time. They always say that, look, there are certain aspects of the doctrine that they have right, and sometimes Sakari says some things that are true. Various other men from other camps say things that are true. But the thing about it is that they don't have the 100% truth. So when they speak truth, when they do righteousness, when they do the right thing, we acknowledge it. When they do the bad, we also correct it, or we rebuke it, or we highlight it. But and guess what? Us highlighting it is actually us bringing forth the truth. All right. Verse 38, no, verse 39, it says, with her there is no accepting of persons or rewards, but she doeth the things that are just, and refrain from all unjust and wicked things, and all men do well like of her works. And all men do well like of her works. All right. It says, neither in her judgment is any unrighteousness, and she is the strength, kingdom, power, and majesty of all ages. Blessed be the power of truth, which is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. All right. And that is so she said she is the strength, kingdom, and power and majesty of all ages. That is how we have strength. We have strength in truth. This is where we're gonna get the kingdom of heaven through truth. We're gonna get power because we serve the God of truth. And that is why we're gonna be majestic. That is what makes us majestic, and that is what we're gonna rule. We're gonna have a kingdom that will never end, because it's gonna be established in truth. All right. So, with that hope, this was edifying. Once more, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Restore who rule well. Shalom to the brothers who push this truth in all sincerity and push this word in all sincerity and truth. The sisters, the believers, the helps, the hopeful elect. Shalom.